I'm going to do it even though it's past the time. I'm going to come through failure because when the due date was over, I saw you kept praying. I saw you kept acknowledging me. And so I got something for you that's not based on time. See, that's somebody ring, but God is about to bless you. And this blessing, it has nothing to do with time. And your kinfolk are going to look at you and say, I thought the time was up. I thought you, oh, come on, you missed that. But God is...
Thank you, Jesus. Hey, and let God. You gotta and let God. Don't worry about it. And let God. Cast your burden and let God. Let God do it. Let God do it. Let God do it. Let God do it. Don't worry about it. You gotta let him do it. Don't cry about it. You gotta let him do it. While you're staying up all night. While you're worrying about it, you can't work it out. Let God do it. Let God do it.
Books in the beginning, we're looking at Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. Then we're going to travel and we're going to read Matthew, the 14th chapter. Proverbs chapter number 3 and verse 5 and 6 is actually coming from our theme for this year as we are trusting the Lord wholeheartedly. Proverbs 3 and 5. So Solomon said, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And in all your ways acknowledge him, or God, and he shall direct your paths. Notice again, trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Pastor, when will I know that I'm not trusting him with all of my heart? The next verse said, and lean not to your own understanding. When I begin to lean to my own understanding, then it is a sure indication that I'm not trusting God with my whole heart. Why should I trust God with my whole heart? Because God's understanding is infinite, but our understanding is finite. We have finite understanding, and so Solomon is warning or admonishing the people of God that when it comes to your own understanding, which is finite, don't trust in it, don't rely upon it, but acknowledge God in all your ways, and notice what he'll do, and he'll direct your path. There is a benefit, there is a blessing in acknowledging God. There's a blessing when you trust God with all of your heart. What is that blessing, Pastor? That he's going to direct your paths. Can I break that down? He's going to show you what you need to do. He's going to show you how to handle things, but you have to do what? Acknowledge him. But when we don't trust God the way we need to, we don't acknowledge him. We make decisions and we hadn't prayed. We make decisions and we haven't considered what the word says, written as well as revealed. Am I right about it? Because how many know that the Logos is important, but so is the Rhema. So is the Rhema that God brings out of the Logos or the written word. And so if God is bringing something out of the written word, and he's revealing something to us, then I need to live by that. I need to consider that when I make my decision. That's how you know when folk take church seriously, because when they make a decision, they consider, what did God say Sunday? What did God say during Bible study? But many of us would be honest that we make decisions without even considering what the word has been teaching us. I know I'm right about it, because when I even talk to people, I have to remind them of what the word said. And had they held on to what the word said, they would have been able to handle a problem better. Come on here, somebody. Because problems are part of what? Life. And so if problems are part of life, I don't want to run from problems. I want to learn how to deal with problems. I want to learn how to take problems head on and make the right decision. I want to learn to make the right decision the first time. And the only way to do it, I got to acknowledge God. No use in playing any, many, mighty, mo when you serve such a God that want to give you the answer. You better tell somebody, God want to give you the answer. He want to give you the answer. He want to talk to you. Am I right about that? But we have to do what? Acknowledge him. Notice this. Notice Matthew, the 14th chapter, because notice as you turn to Matthew 14, there will be evidence or proof in our lives when we're leaning to our own understanding, but there will also be evidence of proof in our lives when we are relying upon God or when we're trusting him with all of our heart. Notice in Matthew A very familiar scripture to some of us, Matthew the 14th chapter. Don't y'all hang in here now. Remember, there's going to be evidence of proof in your life, whether you lean into your own understanding or whether you're trusting God with all of your heart. Notice Matthew the 14th chapter, Jesus had sent the disciples on, and they had got into a boat, and a storm began to arise. In the midst of a storm, Jesus came to the disciples walking on the water. When Peter noticed that it was Jesus, in verse notice 28, he asked Jesus, could he come? He asked Jesus, could he get out of the boat? Now, the Bible said, acknowledge him in all of your ways, and he'll direct what? Your path. He'll tell you what to do. Watch Peter acknowledge him in Matthew 14 and 28. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you. Notice this, on the water. So he said, come. And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. No, Peter just didn't step out of that boat, but he acknowledged God. Lord, if it be you, then let me come. Let me walk on the water. Let me do what you're doing. And the Lord told Peter just simply, come. Told him, come on. Come on. And so he did it. And there was evidence that Peter was not relying on finite understanding. Listen, because nobody who's relying on finite understanding will step out of a boat onto water. Come on, because it makes no sense. Come on, it defies the law of gravity. And everything you've been taught all of your life tells you don't get out the boat. Oh, Lord. See, today's subject is don't rely on finite understanding, part 3. But there is a subtopic. Look at your neighbor and say there's a subtopic this morning. And that is get out the boat. Look at somebody and tell them, get out the boat. Oh, some of you talking, but you in the boat. Get out. Oh, shout it to one more person. Tell them, get out the boat. Can we deal with it? Again, in Proverbs 3 and 5 and 6, when Solomon said, lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge God. The understanding, again, don't miss it. We've been on it for a couple of weeks. Don't miss it. That understanding is coming from the word finite. He's saying don't rely on finite understanding. 3 reasons why we don't need to rely upon finite understanding. We've talked about 2, but the third is something new that we're introducing. Number 1, finite understanding represents understanding that is limited. It is limited understanding. You don't ever want to base your life on understanding that's limited. That's limited. I don't care how much you've learned in life. I really don't care how much you have experienced in life. You're still limited. You are created, you and I, watch this, as limited beings. Come on, somebody. That's just the way God created us. He didn't create any human to know everything. He created us as limited beings. And so when it comes to our understanding, our reasoning, our thinking, and so forth, it is simply limited. Number 2, when something is finite, it says about it that it is subject to time, conditions, and circumstances. In other words, our understanding is not that of God. When it comes to God's infinite understanding, God moves and he doesn't have to consider time. God moves and he doesn't have to consider space. Why? Because God is bigger than time. See, that's the reason God will tell you when something is past the deadline in your life, because he is God of time. He will tell you, don't worry about time. I'm going to do it even though it's past the time. I'm going to come through for you, because when the due date was over, I saw you kept praying. I saw you kept acknowledging me. And so I got something for you that's not based on time. See, that's somebody ring, but God is about to bless you, and this blessing, it has nothing to do with time. And your kinfolk are going to look at you and say, I thought the time was up. I thought you missed that. But God is a that is not limited by time. Somebody need to give God a praise, because something is about to happen in your life that is not based upon time. There's a blessing that's about to hit you in the back of your head. There's something that's about to happen that you forgot about, but God did not forget about you. You know how we say it around here. Thank God that he did not forget about me. You need to tell somebody, show he right. Show he right. Be seated, be seated, be seated, and thank God for the blessing that's about to hit you in the back of your head. That's about to catch you. Wow, something is about to happen in my life. Can I break it down? A prophecy that I forgot about is about to come into fruition because God did not forget. Come on, y'all know how we are when time gets to moving. We forget about certain things God said. God never forgets a promise, for all of the promises in him are yes, and in him what? Amen. Be seated, be seated. Finally, when it comes to what is finite, understand that a finite understanding is subject to error. Come on, we're introducing something. Finite understanding is subject to error. I don't care how right you think you are. You can still be. Oh, I didn't get that minute. I said you can still be. Watch this. You can be passionately wrong. You can be loud and wrong. You can be mean and wrong. You can be stubborn but wrong. Why? Because finite understanding is subject to error. Whoa, we really need to stay here for a minute. How many times have we just thought and knew that we was right? Oh, come on, Pastor, break it down. We was ready to go to war. We were so right. We were ready to fight somebody. I'll cut you. That's how right I know I am. Only to find out I was wrong. You ever been there? You ever thought about it really? You mean I put up that good defense, made my 3.5 points. Come on, and I hit every one of them. But later on, it was revealed that I was. Whoa, here I come through the door, having to say to you, girl, you were right again. Oh no, you was. We ain't got to go there. I was. That was my fault. See, that's finite understanding. Come on. No matter how much you think you know, you can be wrong. Pastor, I know who needed to win the election. I know what's happening up there in Washington. When is the last time you visited up there? You really don't know. That's finite. Don't talk like you know everything about this pandemic. You finite. We don't know everything. Our understanding is subject to error. You need to tell somebody real quick. You can be wrong. Tell it to somebody else. You can. And tell me, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. You can be wrong. But listen, because there's a blessing in being limited. See, I'm dropping the word on you. There's a blessing in being limited. You say, Pastor, what is a blessing about limitation? Let me give you 3 things, 3 blessings that come from being limited. Because it's not wrong when you don't know everything. There's a blessing in not knowing everything. See, God is the only one that knows everything. And so the 3 blessings I'm about to give us don't even apply to God. He don't need that. He know everything. Number 1, the blessing of being limited is number 1, it means there's room for improvement. When you recognize you limited, if you listen to God, he'll improve your life. Where you thought you was right, but you were wrong, God said, listen to me. Listen to my instructions. Take heed to my word. And it's going to improve your life. The only people that don't improve are people who never think they're wrong. Think about that. Some of you are stuck in the same place, in the same position, but you won't listen to nobody. You got all the answers, but you have none of them. And the reason you're not improving is because you don't see your limitations. Because when you do, you don't mind a person correcting you if it's for your improvement. I don't mind you telling me I'm wrong if I'm wrong, because that's going to bring improvement. Because if I'm doing something wrong, the one thing I want to know is then what's right. I don't want what's right according to you. What's right according to God? Come on, somebody. Number 2, it says that there is room for better. There's room for better. When you learn that you're limited, you then open up an opportunity for God to drop better in your life. See, don't ever think you made it. No matter what level you on. Woo, preach it, pastor. If you're still in the earth realm, that means there's another level you can go to. Come on, that's ministry, that's family, that's your career. Don't ever think you done locked down a job. If God still got you there. Because one thing about getting better as a Christian, it should say about us that we're reaching back to help somebody else get better. See, as long as I keep getting better, I can help this congregation get better. I can help this church get better. I can help men get better. If I'm willing as a man to get better, then I can reach back and help a brother that's stuck. I can help a man that's in a place that I used to be in. Come on, that's trying to do it all by himself, that love to beat on his chest and say stupid stuff like, I don't need nobody but God. Well, see, God himself said we need each other. God said you need a preacher. How can they hear without a preacher? How can he preach except he be sent? Now, how you going to say you don't need what God say you need? So you're going to cut off better thinking like that. That's finite. Can I teach it right? Care how long you been married. Always something you can do better as a man. Always something you can do better as a woman. We started out you couldn't boil water, but we've been together 5 years. Lay a pork chop down now. Bake it, baby. Show me that you're getting better. Put the crease in the middle of the pants and not the side. Show me. Am I teaching right? Don't ever think you done locked down something. Am I right about it? Finally, the blessing of limitation is that there's room for growth. The only people don't grow is people who think they've arrived. All of us should be growing or maturing in God. Watch this, because God so loved you, he's concerned about every aspect of your life. So God wants you to grow in every aspect of your life. But something I found out about growing is that you may not grow at the pace that people want you to grow at. Just be able to look at yourself and know, I am growing. Come on, that was good right there. Somebody ought to give God a praise. Because sometimes people have a tendency of thinking they know everything and they know what step you should be on. You don't know me like that. You don't know how far God has brought me. I celebrate step 2 because I never thought I'd get here. Come on, there's somebody this morning, you are happy about where you are. You're giving God the praise for what he has brought you through. And you don't look like, come on, Refuge, what you've been through. You can't tell me where I need to be, and you don't know where I come from. You don't know what I come through. Can't tell me what I should and should not have. You weren't there when I was struggling, so don't show up when I'm doing well and try to judge me and don't know me. Let me ride mean as long as I'm living clean. Am I right about it? Be seated, be seated. There's room for growth. There's room for growth. Room for growth in this church. When you don't recognize there's room for you to grow, you stop listening to people who are important. Because you ain't got to listen to everybody. Part of growing is knowing who to ignore. It's knowing who to listen to. See, a little child don't know who they need to listen to. Mom and daddy got to teach them. So part of growing is learning who to listen to, but then it's also learning who to ignore. Watch this. It's learning what friendships to accept and which to reject. Because the other folk want to get close to you, but God don't want them to get close to you. Watch this. Oh, God, this is somebody. God is purposely doing things to interfere in a relationship from forming. Because that person isn't good for you. They ain't good for your family. They're not good for your mind. When you become mature, you allow God to tell you who you should hang with, who you shouldn't hang with, who you should call back, who you need to ignore. Am I right about it, mature folk? But when you begin to think or to feel, again, that you know it all, you hinder improvement. You hinder better. You hinder growth. Because, again, God don't need to improve. God don't need to get better, and God don't need to grow. Two things that hinder us from receiving these things. Number one, according to Romans 12:3, Paul said that we should not think more highly of ourselves than we should. See, finite thinking or finite understanding will have you thinking more of yourself. Let's go to that. Let's read that. I wasn't going, but let's read it. Romans 12. Somebody need to see it today. Yeah. A know-it-all needs to see it. Yeah. We didn't call you out now. So you turn there anyway. Don't you get stubborn. Wait, I ain't going. Come on, turn to Romans 12:3. You need to see this. Notice this. This is Paul, the Apostle Paul, speaking to the church at Rome. A very prosperous church, a very large church. Some of the saints in Rome had it going on. But see, there's always a tendency when people have it going on for them to get beside themselves. Woo! You know, there's always a tendency when people ain't ever had nothing and then they get something. They may not be the same person you knew. I ain't talking about no whole lot. I'm just talking a new car. Changes some people. Money changes some people. A job change. You'll be surprised somebody on your job, they'll make them supervise and give them $2 more an hour, just $2. Now all of a sudden, they own the company. They're in the break room telling you we using too much paper towels. They make $2 more. But that position, come on. You see it in the church where a deacon start acting like pastor. You have to be careful when God starts to elevate you in the church and outside of the church that you stay humble. I don't care what God bless you with. You stay humble. You stay low. Even when folk try to put you high, stay low. Stay low. Don't let them do it. Because the same one that put you up, when they ain't with you, they going to talk about you. Don't let everybody come over my house. Everybody don't need to come inside my house. There's some folk, when I see them coming, I meet them outside the house. I didn't know you lived over here. Yes. It's a nice home you got. The Lord been good to us. What's going on? Why you here? Come on. Look at Romans 12 and 3 real quick. For I say through the grace given to me, to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself or herself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, as God has dealt to each one a measure of faith. You see that? Well, Pastor, I'm going to feel good about myself. You should. Every one of us should love ourselves. Because if you struggle loving you, you're going to struggle loving me. Am I right? So it ain't about feeling good about yourself. There's a level we don't need to go to. That is to where we think more highly. Come on. That leads to destruction. And we don't want to do that. Number two is when men become prideful. See, when you walk in finite understanding, if you rely upon it, it will have you to the point to where you're being prideful. Peter says in 1 Peter 5 and 5, Peter warns that God resists the proud, but he gives grace, favor to who? The humble. But when you rely on finite understanding, they're saying about you that you're too prideful. You done got all into yourself. And this is the generation we live in where people feel like they don't need God. You mentioned the folk now about needing to be saved. And they look at you like, we ain't with that no more. That church stuff ain't what it used to be. That's a big mistake. Folk don't even have their families in church. Not even what children now that you deal with have no church in them at all. Oh, come on. Used to be back in the day, you were going to church. You didn't have to get saved. You could have been to the club Saturday, but Sunday morning, get your fast self in church. Get your hard-headed self in church. Get in Sunday school. Come on. But nowadays, there are children who know absolutely nothing about church. And a good church can't do nothing but help you. I said a good church can't do nothing but help you. But watch this. But sometimes to help, we have to be hurt. Sometimes to help a person, you got to hurt that person's feelings.
Thank you for
Some
watching A Word
like
for
that.
Deliverance with Pastor Leonard Cochran of A Place of Refuge, Noonan. A Place of Refuge is located at 10 Fisher Alley in the city of Noonan, Georgia. If you would like to visit us, our worship times are every Sunday at 10:15 a.m. and Wednesdays at 7:15 p.m. To order today's message on CD, please call the church office at 770-252-3855 and reference the order number on the screen.